Okay, how's everybody feeling today? Their turn. You were hiding under that.
Hide tight.
That's right. That's how you do it. Anything bugging anybody today? Gonna work on some hip stuff. All right. Well then, let's get started with feet out in front of us today. So knees can be bent. You can wrap your arms around your legs if you'd like. If this is not comfortable, obviously you can sit however you want. But go ahead and close your eyes. Take a few breaths. If you're carrying some tension in your shoulders, if you're a little stressed, try to let those shoulders drop. Let the upper back round a bit. Start to deepen each breath. Moving that belly as you inhale. And contracting those abs a little as you exhale. A couple more breaths. Relax that forehead down. Stretching the back of the neck. Big breath in. We're going to exhale. Place the hands behind us. You can open the chest to the ceiling for a few breaths. Allow the head to tip back slightly. Okay, just breathing nice and even. We're going to start to rock the knees side to side. You don't have to go really far. Just warming up through the hips. Twist through the lower part of the back. Okay, and then sitting up a little bit higher, you can bring those hands next to you. If you need to, you can walk your feet out a little bit if it feels like your feet are too close. Big breath in. We're going to exhale over to the side. Breathe in, nice and easy. Rain that hand down to the floor. Exhale, other hand up and over. Big breath in, exhale that hand down, other hand up and over. Once more, breathing in, lowering up the hand, exhale to reach. Ready, we're going to place that arm down. You can bring those feet in again. We're going to drop the knees off to the side. Keep one hand behind you and put one hand on top of the thighs to twist. Big stretch through the waist. When you're ready, we'll repeat on the other side. So knees are going to come through the center. Exhale them over. Hands on top of the thighs and twist away. Try to relax through that waist. Big stretch into the top of the hips. Take your time. When you're ready, we'll return to the front. We're going to allow the knees to fall off to the side. You can place your hands behind you. Just allow those legs to stretch for a moment. And ever so gently, we start to move the belly button forward. Try to keep that lift through the chest. And once you've gotten as far as your straight spine will let you go, you can just take your hands, latch onto your ankles, and pull it forward. Relaxing through those hips. Try to release the inner part of the thighs. Few more breaths. You're going to breathe in, come on up. You can pull those knees in. We're going to send the legs out nice and long in front of us. Legs out in front, you can bounce the knees. Stretching out those legs as far as they'll go. And starting off in staff pose, hands are going to go right next to us. So we've got our palms flat on the floor. You're working on that feeling as if you're going to lift your hips up off the floor, but you don't actually have to lift your hips up off the floor. So big breath in. Exhale and push into the hands. Tightening down to the sides of the body. Nice and strong through the chest. 2 more breaths. Chest is lifted, spine is nice and tall. On the exhale, we're going to relax the arms, stretch those hands forward. You can latch on to the shins or the ankles and take a few breaths. As your body starts to release, you can move your hands a little further down the legs. Stretch slightly further if you can. Nice and easy. Let's inhale. We're going to bring one foot in. Allow the knee to fall off to the side. And just taking a breath here. We've done a whole bunch of forward folding. So lifting through the chest for a sec. We're going to be folding forward again in a moment. Just allowing the hip to open for the moment. And then nice and easy, you can lean the body forward as you'd like. If that's not comfortable, because you've done a whole bunch of this, you can just stay with your arms behind you. Otherwise, you're going to stretch those arms out in front. Few more breaths. If you're ready, you can breathe in. I'm going to cross that ankle over the straight leg. Move the hands to the rear. Allow that knee to just relax for a moment. A little higher lift this time. Trying to get a stretch into the groin, into the inner part of the thigh. And moving from there, we're going to be going deeper into the hips. So we're going to try to bend the straight leg, pull that ankle closer to the face. As that hip relaxes, you can bring your leg a little closer. Try to keep your chest elevated. So rather than rounding into this, try to keep your belly button and your chest feeling like they're reaching toward your shin. And we're going to try a funky one. So whichever foot is on top, you're going to try to lower that foot toward the floor. You get it all the way down there, press it on down. If you can't, you can just hold. Just allowing for a big stretch to the side of the hip. And remember, you're listening to what your body's saying, so if you're a little tight there, you want to stay there longer, just hold that stretch for a moment. Otherwise, when you're ready, we're going to be lifting those legs up off of the mat, sending that leg out long. You can bob the knees out for a moment if you need to. And then we're going to be pulling the opposite leg in to our figure four. So the first thing we're doing is just relaxing into that shape, making sure the hips aren't too yucky. As you feel more comfortable, starting to lean forward, reaching those hands out. Couple more breaths. As you're ready, we're going to lean on back. We're going to take that floor leg, the bent knee, cross it over our opposite leg. Just hang out here for a sec. Just opening up through the middle part of the groin and the thigh. And from there, we're going to be bending that straight leg, pulling our shin up closer to us. Still trying to keep that chest and your belly button lifted. So we're aiming for a big stretch on the outside of this hip. So if you're not feeling it, you can bring it a little closer. And then when you're ready, we're going to go through that same funky pretzel one. We're going to be dropping the top leg off on the ground, so flipping the whole of your legs over, and just easy stretch. 2 more breaths here, unless you want to stay longer. When you're ready, we're going to pull those legs up and send the legs out. Bob the knees if you need to, and we're going to meet in a tabletop position. Getting off of our butts. All right, so just to start off with, giving some hands of pressure off the wrists. We're going to send the knees out wide. Big toes together. Go ahead and sit on back and extend your child's pose. Relax those arms. You can roll the wrists if you need to. And stretch to the tops of the feet. Two more big breaths. All right, and coming up out of that shape, and bring the body forward. You can plant those hands down underneath the shoulders. Bring your knees under your hips. Let's go ahead and curl the toes under. Just get a little stretch into the bottoms of the feet. So we're pulling the shoulders down from the ears and just working on some stability in the core. So big breath in. As you exhale, we're going to reach up with one arm and hold. And lower that arm down. Big breath in. We're going to exhale, reach out with the opposite arm. And lower that arm down. Big breath in. We'll exhale, kick one leg back, keeping those hips nice and square. When you're ready, you can lower that leg down. Big breath in. One more time. Exhale, send that leg out. Very good. Lower that leg down. Okay, so now going into the bird dog. Take a big breath in. We're going to exhale, reach out with one arm, kick back with the opposite leg. So big push through the floor hand and through your knee and your foot. Try to keep that body nice and long. Stretching as far as you can from the tip of your fingertips all the way down to your toes. One more breath in. Now on the exhale, we're going to keep the leg out, lower the hand down. We're going to cross that foot over to the outside of the mat, and you can just turn and go into a little side stretch. Return that knee back to the mat. Going to do the same on the opposite side. So shoulders are down from the ears, belly is slightly tucked. Take a big breath in. Exhale, reach out with one arm and the opposite leg. And we're pushing strongly into the mat with our other arm and leg. We're going to stretch the arm out as if you're reaching toward the wall in front of you and stretching those toes as if reaching the wall behind you. One more breath in. On the exhale, you can lower the hand down, take that foot, cross it over to the outside of the mat, and you can twist. Good, go ahead and return that knee down to the mat. Okay, we're going to come up off of the wrists for a sec. You can come up nice and tall. Relax those wrists. Now, if this is extremely uncomfortable, you can roll the mat up underneath your knees. We're just going to sit up tall for a sec. So we don't usually do this pose where you lean back, but instead from here, we're going to stay on our knees. Try to tuck your hips under slightly. Just lift up nice and tall. If you want a slight arch to the back, you can feel like you're pushing your hips forward, but just allow the hip flexors to open. Or if you're really excited, you could try to reach back and grab your ankles. Okay, next leg. I can't get back there. Very good. Now keeping the tuck in your hips, you can kind of straighten up through the spine. We're going to bring a knee in front. We're not going to shift our weight forward, just putting one leg in front of us here. Tucking those hips under nice and tight and pushing the front and back leg into the floor. Remember, we're trying to keep that tailbone tucked so there's a strong stretch on this back leg. Okay, bringing that leg back down to the floor. Repeating on the opposite side. So we're keeping those hips tucked under, keeping the weight back on our back leg for today. All right, take your time. We're going to come up to standing. Pulling out through the ankles if you need it. Okay, so just nice and easy. Little twist. We did a whole bunch of forward bendy stuff today. Okay, now big breath in. We're gonna reach the hands up overhead, big reach. Gonna reach those arms back as far as you can, open up through the chest. Taking a few breaths. Big breath in, we're gonna exhale, lower those hands down. You can clasp the hands behind the back. Once again, opening through the chest, lifting toward the ceiling, slightly lifting the chin. You can either just pull the elbows back or you can turn straight into the arms. Now keeping this stretch across the chest, we're going to soften the knees a little bit. Allow the hips to press to the rear. So we're keeping a big open space in the chest. Moving the hips back so your back should remain flat. But as your hips move back, you'll feel a really big stretch in the back of the hamstrings, even though we aren't reaching down very far. Almost as if you're trying to lift your tailbone really high. Big breath in. We're going to exhale, relax the hands, stretch the rest of the way down, relax the spine. Time. We're going to breathe in, allow the knees to press forward, hips forward, bringing it on up. We're going to be repeating some of that. So hands are going to go behind the back. We're going to pull the shoulders back, slight lift through the chin, take a few breaths. Soften those knees. Allow the hips to press to the rear, taking your time. So we're not trying to go as low as we can like this. Instead, you're just trying to move just enough so that the hamstrings, the back of your thighs start to stretch. And you can hold that shape. Big breath in, we'll release the hands, exhale, and reach those hands down toward the mat. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and lower down to the mat. So however you need to get down there, go ahead and get your butt down onto the mat. You can either stay seated, you can roll on your belly, or you can go ahead and lay on your back for our last few moments. Try to find a comfortable position and close your eyes. You can stay here for one more moment. Whenever you're done for today, you can wiggle around and sit on up when you're finished. Okay, how's everyone feeling?
Good.
Okay.
Good stretch.
Alrighty, well thank you for coming.